Lucas Trent, the Iceman himself. He had been right here in her office. Amaryllis managed to wait until the door had closed firmly behind her new client before she succumbed to the amazed wonder that she had barely been able to conceal during their conversation. Lucas Trent. He had been sitting there on the other side of her desk. She had signed a contract to focus for him. Amaryllis sagged weakly in her chair. She still could not believe it. The man they called the Iceman had been haunting her for months. It had been a gentle haunting, to be sure. Nevertheless, she had been intimately aware of his existence in a way she could not explain. A year ago, a single news photo of him had transfixed her attention. She had picked up the paper one morning and found herself riveted. It wasn't his business success or the tales of his exploits during the Western Islands action that had captured her interest. It was not even the discovery of the artifacts that had intrigued her so much. She thought it was something about his eyes. It was not as if she had been obsessive about it, she assured herself. In the months since he had appeared on television and in the papers, her awareness of him had quietly receded to the back of her mind. She'd had more important things to do than dwell on Lucas Trent, and she had done them. She led a busy life, and the past few months had been especially full. What with ending her relationship with Gifford, quitting her job at the university, joining Synergy Inc., and preparing to register with a marriage agency, she'd had very little time to think about the Iceman. His name had actually been familiar long before his discovery of the relics. Everyone had become aware of Lucas Trent 3 years ago, when pirates had attempted a takeover of the Western Islands. The pirates, a motley coalition of outlaws, career criminals, and assorted riffraff from the 3 city-states, had united under a leader to try to take control of the rich resources of the Western Islands. Amaryllis had been busy with her research and teaching at the university during the Western Islands action, but she had heard some of the details. She knew, for instance, that Lucas's wife and his partner had been killed during the initial pirate raid. In the chaotic days that followed the raid, Lucas had put together a hastily deputized police force from among the miners, technicians, traders, cooks, sailors, and shopkeepers who had found themselves stranded in the islands when the fighting broke out. It was during the Western Islands action that Nelson Burleton had dubbed Lucas the Iceman. Burleton and the other correspondents who had covered the story had marveled at the effectiveness of Lucas's strategy and tactics. The pirates had been driven from the islands in complete disarray in less than 2 weeks. But it wasn't Lucas's success as a commander 3 years ago that had caught Amaryllis's attention. In truth, she had been too occupied with final exams to notice him. It was his discovery of the relics that had made her so intensely aware of him. She would never forget the photo of him that had been snapped soon after he had emerged from the jungle with the artifacts in his hands. The harsh landscape of his face had been indelibly imprinted on her mind. Today, she had been shaken to realize that, if anything, the news photos and film clips had understated the reality of Lucas's features. His face was not exactly a thing of beauty. It was a graphic rendering of masculine strength and determination. His bold cheekbones, aggressive nose, and strong jaw were as exotic, compelling, and mysterious to Amaryllis as the alien artifacts themselves.